Today on the CTV News at 5, a Medicine Hat day home operator is sentenced to federal jail time in the death of a 19-month-old toddler. Plus, how Bank of Montreal clients were left in the lurch. And what happened when Crow's Nest Pass ratepayers presented their petition at the legislature.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. A Medicine Hat day home operator who pushed a toddler into a wall, killing her, has been sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. 26-year-old Erin Jackman learned her sentence today in a Medicine Hat courtroom. In July of 2010, 19-month-old Mercedes Pepper suffered a traumatic head injury at Jackman's day home. Jackman originally told police that the little girl fell, but during a videotaped interview, which was played in court, Jackman admitted that she slammed Mercedes into a door hinge while trying to force her into a timeout. Last month, Jackman pleaded guilty to criminal negligence causing death in the case. The Crown prosecutor says she is considering appealing the sentence. Jackman could be out of prison in 14 months. Coming up at 6, we'll hear from both lawyers in the case. An investigation into a massive fire that's destroyed an old sawmill in Cranbrook last night is already complete. Last night, flames shot up from the site, which has been out of operation since 2007. Fire crews from surrounding communities had to be called in to help contain the blaze. It's believed that contractors working at the site were pulling out an old piece of equipment. Fire investigators do not believe that the blaze was suspicious, but they have labeled the cause undetermined. The fire has shaken the whole community.
But we know it's a good career, 38 years of steady work, steady employment. And it's sad to see what's happened to it. But, they were going to start tearing it down the way we were told by, sometime in the near future, sometime in November.
Now, this is the second major fire in Cranbrook this year. Back in April, flames destroyed 4 small businesses in the city's historic downtown core. A group of petition-wielding Crow's Nest Pass residents are hopeful, but they're not overly optimistic after presenting the petition to politicians in Edmonton. The Ratepayers Association made the trip in hopes of getting the province to intervene in a dispute with Crow's Nest Pass Council. Citizens say that they are concerned about fee increases and a plan to restructure committees in the municipality. The delegation was armed with just over 2,500 signatures.
We're hoping the minister will intervene and at least put in a referendum agreement to stop spending until we can have another election in October of next year. So we're not specifically asking that the council be removed, but we're sure asking that there is intervention into what's happening, because the people know they're not going to be able to afford these costs down the road.
A municipal affairs department says that the first step is to review the verification of the petition, and if it's declared valid, the province would appoint a staff member to conduct an inspection and then prepare a report for the minister. Now, a spokesman says the process could take up to a year to complete. Dory Rossiter is here with a forecast and another dose of rain coming, but not until next week.
Right, and it's a bit of a roller coaster as far as temperatures go, but we've got a good few days of above average temperatures, and then as you mentioned, yes, we do have periods of rain coming on Tuesday, and then we're back into double-digit temperatures, and then we cool down once again. So it's up and down, and such is November in southern Alberta, and I'll have more details coming up in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. Bank of Montreal customers were left scrambling this morning after the banking giant's entire computer system crashed. Since the system crashed, all transactions were declined, including debit, credit, telephone, and internet banking. BMO customers were out of cash for a couple of hours. The system failure affected people right across the country. Many had to leave their purchases behind.
I was just at the checkout, and it was normal, and it declined as if I had no money in my account.
So did you have to leave your purchases behind?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm here now to check.
Were you worried?
I'm very worried, yeah.
BMO had just about everything up and running, we're told, before noon. The company is now trying to locate the source of the problem. High school students were given a lesson in Wall Street trading today. November is Financial Literacy Month, and this group of grade 10 students from Kate Andrews High School in Coaldale was given a crash course in global finance from experts at the University of Lethbridge. Instructors offered lessons in everything from personal budget strategy to simulated real-time stock trading. Markin Hall boasts the best-equipped academic trading room in Western Canada. The classroom is actually directly connected to the markets and exchanges worldwide.
It's really important. It's important that they can come and see how everything works together and what the trading room skills that they'll learn. So by getting them here, they can see what those skills are to get them involved early on in their education process. So.
Now, Alberta's Auditor General says our province's bridges aren't being monitored properly, and those inspecting the bridges aren't actually certified. Those details are part of the Auditor General's fall report, and it laid out several recommendations for improvements.
Our concern is that the department generally has well-designed systems, but these systems are not operating as intended. The consequence is a risk of unsafe bridges. The risk of unsafe bridges is unnecessarily high.
This issue was on the Auditor General's radar to conduct a review, but it was moved up when an overpass collapsed in Quebec. While the Auditor General says he still feels safe driving over and under bridges, critics aren't so sure.
The Auditor General can't guarantee that we have safe bridges as long as we keep going in the direction we're going with contracted out employees that aren't properly certified and not properly keeping track. We're headed for a Montreal-style situation.
Now, to replace every bridge in the province, it would cost $6.7 billion. The province has been setting aside just $25 million a year for a bridge to repair. Transportation Minister Rick McIver says he's ready to implement some improvements similar to the AG's recommendations. Once again, the amount of body contact allowed in minor hockey is under scrutiny. Today, the Canadian Pediatric Society issued a release calling for a ban on body checking for players until they reach bantam age. That's 13 and 14 years of age. It's the latest issue being debated as, once again, off-ice hockey news hits the headlines. CTV's Paul Hollingworth has more.
According to NHL rules, this represents a clean hit. But when should young players be introduced to the game's rougher side?
It's just kind of scary going in with really big people.
Ethan Phillips plays Pee Wee AAA, which means he just started checking this year.
If I get a big hit, it makes me feel like more into the game. I have a better game when I play more physical.
There's also a downside.
When you get hit, it makes your legs tired.
Now the Canadian Pediatric Society wants the introduction of checking pushed back to bantam players ages 13 and 14. Checking and overall body contact in hockey touches on two issues. One, it adds to the competitive process. Two, it's obviously a safety concern.
What we've got to do is find, is there a compromise in the middle?
Darren Kosser says it's too soon to support or reject the recommendation, but he's not closed-minded on the matter.
Is there some pieces that we can take out of this and say, there is a happy medium in the middle of this that allows our players at the top end not to miss out on anything and continue to develop?
John Greenwood coaches major midget hockey and teaches at the Maritime Varsity Academy.
Stay low, make sure you get him right on the shoulder.
Greenwood says for hockey players to make the jump to elite status, they must first learn to give and take a check.
I'd like to see the skills taught at a younger age. I think it can be a tougher skill to teach at a 13, 14-year-old age with a lot of testosterone going. I'd almost lean towards the opposite.
I'm surprised we're not seeing as many concussions this year. We saw a ton last year.
From a purely medical standpoint, Dr. Mark Fletcher agrees with the recommendation. As a hockey parent, he's also aware that checking is only required by upper-level players.
But that is such a small percentage of the kids out there playing this sport that why are we subjecting 99% of them to body contact injury when it's really only the 1% of them that's going to go on and actually use that skill.
Fletcher says most Canadian hockey players wind up playing in rec leagues. He adds, since checking is not allowed at those levels, why should it be taught at this level?
Well, seeing a grizzly bear on your property isn't anything new for farmers and ranchers west of Pinter Creek, but seeing 9 bears in one night is somewhat out of the ordinary.
This is actually his teeth marks as he was chewing to get in the door, and then he'd smash the door in.
Beaver Mines rancher Ryan McClellan says he's counted 11 grizzlies on his property since September alone. He says they've broken into his meat locker and one of his granaries. McClellan says a couple of weeks ago he encountered 9 grizzlies in one night.
And we woke up when the dog here was barking and opened up the garage door, the door from the house, and there was a bear in the entrance of the garage, and scared him away and came over to my processing shop here, and there was another one ran out of there, and I went for a little drive at 12:30 in the morning there and ran into a sow with 3 two-year-old cubs and a sow with 2 cubs. So that was 9 bears.
Ooh, Fish and Wildlife officers have since relocated 2 of those bears. They were forced to destroy one that was breaking into buildings. Most of the other bears have gone into hibernation. Now, there have also been several bear sightings in the Fernie area where a female bear tried to break into a home through a doggy door and caused quite a bit of damage there. We changed the clocks back this weekend. While most of us likely appreciate an extra hour of sleep, the time shift can actually disrupt our sleep patterns. Although we will gain an hour of sleep, many people won't acclimate to the time change for about a week's time, making it difficult to maintain a normal sleep schedule. So studies show we see a spike in the number of car accidents during this time.
Sleep is a biological imperative. You have no choice about sleep. So the question isn't whether you make up for lost sleep. The question is, where will you make up for lost sleep? Will you make up for lost sleep that Sunday afterwards sitting in church? Will you make up your sleep driving in a car?
However, while some evidence shows that daylight savings time, either moving ahead or back, does impact our driving skills, there is other research to show it makes no difference.